Mercury Custom Cutlery. How's everybody doing? Got some stuff to do today. I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. Give us a chance to hang out and check in with each other. Let me just pull up this so I can see the comments. And there we go. Just like that. Actually got a good thing going. All right. How's everybody doing? I'm sure we'll get some people coming in, trickling in. And while we're doing that, I'll just do my normal setup and talk. First thing I always like to do in the morning is what? What do we do, kids? We clean up our shop. And you should do it while you're moving. You know, clean up as you go. But sometimes I'm going and time is short. So the first thing I do before I get any work done, though, is I always declutter my work area. And what that does, what does that do, everybody? That makes sure you're less likely to have accidents, problems, mistakes. It allows you to see what you're doing. It's amazing because I feel like I don't generate that much clutter, but the clutter generates itself. Little newspapers, little piece of sponge, little blue bar. And I'm really not that cluttered up. I see some guys that just got so much clutter, it's kind of crazy. That's why it's nice to have the shelf, but also the shelf gets really dusty, so everything's always a trade-off in life. Is that not true? Everything in life is a trade-off. Dust extraction is working really good. The vent system is keeping the dust down exceptionally well. And we'll check in. How's everybody doing? Good morning from Norway. Probably not morning over there. Thanks for joining us. We got some really cool ones today, actually. Couple Japanese ones. Beautiful hammered tatsume or sume finish, the hammered finish with a really nice, all three of them actually are the same. We'll show them for the camera. How's the lighting look? Yeah, it looks pretty good. So we'll Damascus thing. Yeah, looks good. I guess we'll just get right into it. Get these ones all the way. Oh, I got one more thing to do, which is right here. Perfect. So we found, I've tested, this is for the angle guide. And the angle guide, if you don't have dust extraction, a lot of dust will build up on the metal, and then that dust on the metal will then scratch the knife up. Minor surface scratches, the Scotch-Brite will take it out. But two things you can do to eliminate that is, one, get yourself a nice dust extraction system like this, and it sucks the dust into the other room. That takes out 90% of the dust, and when the dust isn't there, it's fine. The other thing you can do is you get a slippery tape of some kind. And I've tried every type. I mean, a lot of times I'll just use blue painter's tape if I don't have anything else. But the best tape I've found is the ultra high molecular weight UHMW tape. And it's like plastic, but it's slippery. It's like slippery plastic. And it'll last, I go for the medium thickness one. And you can buy this online, and what we've decided to do is cut it up into strips at a reasonable price. It's not a huge triple markup. I mean, you could buy an 18-foot roll, or you can buy 10 strips from us for $3, I think. And when you break it down to how much per inch it costs, we're kind of working. It's not a big deal. So we're trying to keep it reasonable so everyone can just order packets. So you get an angle guide, or you know, when you order your belts, You can just go ahead and order a packet of these things, and they'll last. I usually one strip will last me about a month before I start noticing it fraying on the edge. But that really lets the metal dust slide off. Okay, there we go. So there we got our area. Yeah, PTFE is similar. Truth, do you sell used knives online? We do not sell used knives online. We all of our knife sales are for the brick and mortar store for our local customers. If you're interested in, getting some knives for business purposes or things like that, we have resources available, and you can email me off camera, and I'm happy to share with you or help any way I can. A lot of guys will, be doing a sharpening business and want to have products, so they to sell to customers, and we got resources. I'm happy to share those with people. For this year, we're actually positioning ourselves really with a lot more educational material for sharpeners and new premium products for sharpeners, and then customer service and stuff. So that's what we're going to focus on. This might be a little noisy. We're just going to do, actually, I won't need the 50 grit. 50 grit's when you need to get some stuff done. 80 grit is where I like, because the scratches aren't so deep. And I'm just going to, it's a little thick. It's not thick on the edge, but it's a little thick behind the edge, if that makes sense. So I think we're going to regrind these down. I might even dip them in a little acid real quick. We'll give it the full Monty. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to grind this down really quick. Bring you in a little closer. So this is some thinning, just a quick little thinning, but I don't have a lot of time. Drop a little. Now, because this has, getting a little ahead of myself, talking and chewing bubble gum. Because this has the hammered finish, and I want to make sure to not bump into that or have the belt shatter come up, I'm going to use the radius platen. I've used other methods in the past, but it makes it nice. Yeah, so now I can come up. I don't have to worry about shattering up into here. Really nice blend. Perfect. Really nice blend. Yep, that's all it really needed. Just had a little bit of a shoulder bump in the back there. A little bit of an uneven grind on it. And then what I'll probably do for this one today is I'll just come over here to the wheel. I'm letting the 240 grit wheel satin polish out. Actually just gorgeous, just like that. So you can skip a bunch of sandpaper steps. Hopefully that'll show up on the camera. That 240 grit wheel really can do the work, and so it can jump because it's got a focused point of contact, even though it's 240 grit, it's got a focused point of contact that will allow it to take out lower grit scratches. That's a beautiful blended 240 grit high luster satin polish. That's good enough. Let me grab the other two. Yeah, full thinning, some people it can take, 20, 30 minutes a knife, but you can really do, with the right cheat code, you can, so this one I just hit the bevel, and you can see how thick it is down here on the spine. So it's got a taper and then it drops off. They've been sharpening at a higher and higher angle. So we're just going to remove all that double bevel action. I like to alternate sides to keep it even on both sides. There we go. We already got the double bevel. It's also going to pull back up the cladding a little bit. Each knife is different, and each part of each knife is different. This is a lot of the stuff I'm doing this morning is what we cover in our one-on-one training program, where people actually fly over here to Maui and we spend time working together for a couple days, and I train them right here. And that's been a lot of fun. I enjoy the heck out of that. Look how clean and nice that looks now. Got a little bit of thickness back here. Then we'll just make sure we get both sides to be symmetrical. Bring it up a little bit. Still a little thick down here on the heel. But that's where you just work it back and forth and you take your time. The main thing is not to bump up into here, because that'll ruin that. Yeah, that could be a little scary at first. There we go. So I've got that little extra bit down here. Good. Some guys will take it up quite a bit further, but again, I'm not doing a full thinning. Might need a little more right here. The knife's warm, but it's not hot. As I go, I kind of follow that line that curves a little bit. That's looking really good. And use your fingers to feel for the thickness. A little bit more right there. Nice. And we'll give that a clean that up. Make sure the tip goes perfect up to the top. No elf shoe. Alright, now we'll just give this the satin polish, same thing. There we go. Another beauty. The 240 grit wheel really is a cheat code. Yeah, gorgeous. Okay, one more. same deal. Kind of got a rough grind on it. We're gonna go ahead and take care of it. 3 swipes, see where we're at. I got a lot of work today, you guys, and also I expect a bunch of customers coming in too. So, buckle up, Buttercup. Good morning. You're right there. Nice thin taper along the whole thing. Perfect. Let me just satin polish this one real quick. I'll be right there. Yeah, don't play with knives. That's right. Beautiful. Yeah, these will be ready for sharpening when I get back. What's that?
Can I use the bathroom, please?
Yeah, sure.
You're not here yesterday.
No, Tuesdays and Thursdays are my days. All the way at the back.
Thank you. Oh, that's my knife right there.
That's why I'm working really fast on them. Yep.
Oh, yeah,
also
baby.
recording too.
I like that. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, everyone that's joined, welcome. Oh yeah, that's a lot of top speed. All right, so I kicked on the dust extraction in the back.
Can I look at it? How you sharp it?
Yeah, go ahead. I am recording. I've got guys watching, so if you don't mind, they won't see you. But
Yeah.
so I did a thinning for you.
Okay, thank you.
I thinned it down, and then we got a high satin polish, and now I'm just going to do the sharpening of the final edge.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And so I can see a little bit, just a little bit of normal stuff. Like you have good control. Use the whetstones, of course, right? So you have good control, but normally there's always a little bit.
Well, I just come over here. Why are you sharpening it?
Right? I was telling everybody online that recently the guys at the sushi place, I did all the sushi guys. Now they said, why don't you just come every month and do all our knives? So
How come you didn't move to the Kahului area?
we were in Kahului, and then
At the airport.
that location, the air conditioner died.
Oh.
So all the hard work we did, I had to move again. It was very frustrating. Okay, so now I've got the full surface. This one came out really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now we We'll just put that final edge on there. This will make it easier for you to maintain with the whetstone also.
Yes, sir.
So I can see with the light that, because where I'm at, the reflection of the light
Yeah.
lets me see when the two surfaces come together, which is normally what you would do with the when you're feeling for the burr, right?
Yeah.
But I can visually see it when they come together, so there's no. So people think with the belt sander you're grinding off all this material, but you don't. You can.
No, you know how to play with it.
I mean, I'm holding it there, but no material's going away.
Yeah.
So
I already used this one, then the stone. You can like control on the stone.
I can control here, and so you got just a little bit of a heel up. I mean, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I can go boop, 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 boop. And then that little bit of a heel's gone. Or if you try to scrub with the stone,
Yeah.
you're going to take off more. People don't want to hear that, though.
Yeah.
Got your full, you got your point, and then we just move it on down. There we go. Everybody good? You guys seeing all right? All right, here we go.
Oh, you have YouTube channel too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got 20,000 subscribers, something like that. We got a few, but today I didn't warn anybody. Sometimes I just go live because I want the company.
Yeah.
I need the company, and then they'll ask me questions, and so it makes the time go by better.
Yes, sir.
You know. What are you mostly cutting? Fish?
Vegetable and fish and meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do more chopping or more slicing?
Chopping.
Chopping. Okay, so if you're doing chopping, we'll give you a fine. I'll still leave a little bite, a little tooth on there, a little bite for a little slice. But like for the deer hunters, they're doing big slices.
Yeah.
So we leave it more aggressive. But if you're doing chopping, then you go with a finer edge, and especially for delicate things.
Yes.
So a couple,
Especially you work in the kitchen, you like it fine, nice.
right? You don't want to have a beat up old chunk of metal knife.
Yeah.
These are nice knives, man. So this is the final kiss right there. And that's the leather. So that should be hair splitting right there at that level. The leather does such amazing things. And we use a felt too that does have a special felt wheel.
Yes.
But when you use the diamond emulsion, you don't have the icky sort of residue.
Yes, sir.
We want to make sure that the knives are food safe. When you get them back, you're ready to go. You don't want to cut through a cucumber and have some weird black gunk on it.
Yes, sir.
Gotta wipe them off.
Uh-huh.
You believe some guys don't wipe them off before they give them back? It's crazy. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna carefully wipe these down. And where's your grab your tray, and I'll meet you up at the front.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
My little doggy running around out there somewhere.
That's good.
Let me show these boys what we did here. So I did that just in a few minutes. And we actually did thinning, satin polishing, and then a full sharpening. It's pretty cool that he showed up too.
Oh, wow. Look
Yeah,
at that
and that's
knife,
just
bro.
that's
Oh,
just
man.
using the weight of the knife.
Oh, bro.
There we go.
Excited, ready to go.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Come over here and shop your knife, guys.
They all sharpen for a living, so. But they all want to come out here so I can train them too.
Oh yeah, baby.
There we
That's
go.
what I'm talking about.
$20 each.
$20.
Yeah, yeah. And normally, like if I don't have to redo the thinning and all that, it
Yeah.
usually be like 10, but a little extra for the thing. Okay.
How much is that?
That's 50, 24 to 60.
24,
60, 10. Perfect. Thank you. There you go. And that, yeah, because I think last time you came in, I did a short, I did a quickie on it, you know?
Yeah.
And so this time I wanted to make sure to get the rough grinds out, and here's the main test for the knife is when you pull, you take your fingers and you pull off, and it should feel like a smooth drop. This one's still a little thick there.
Yeah.
But if you take it down too thin, it becomes very fragile too.
My wife come all the time over here. My girlfriend.
Oh!
Elia.
Is she the feisty one?
Yeah.
Is the
I can with my knife.
Right? Very
Yeah.
good, sir.
Thank
Appreciate
you so
it.
much, sir.
All right. Aloha.
Yes, sir.
Nice. You know what's crazy is the first one I picked to sharpen today was the guy that showed up before I even called him. It's we've only been open like 25 minutes. So normally I sharpen the knives and then I call him and say, hey, they're ready for pickup. Well, he didn't wait. He just showed up. So there we go. That's what you get. Let me catch up on the chat. Yeah, Martin, if you got a 1x30 running at 3,000 RBMs, that's where I started. That's where a lot of people start. But you know already it's very fast. So what you have to do is you have to do very light pressure. Yep. And yeah, the light pressure, start at the tip, work your way off. Keep it cool with a mist bottle if you have to, but honestly, the 3000 grip basic 1x30 just isn't really a good sharpening tool. That's what led me to originally find a way to put a variable speed DC motor on them, and now we have some choices for $150 that you can buy out of the box, like the Buck tool, little guy that I use that works really good. Won't burn a tip. It's running at 1750 RPM, so it's really good. Can't say your name there. YROY. Why, Roy? Hello from Utah. My progress across the things, I've got it written down on the machines. All the machines have got labels so you can see what we're doing. We use a Cubitron P120, Trizac A30, and then usually a leather or felt belt to strop. Nice. The 1x30 Vivor, yeah. Trizac belts are worn out after you've done about 70 blades, and they'll get a little shine to them. So not this kind of a shine. They get a dull glaze to them. That's a fresh belt. It's got kind of a shimmer to it from the fibers. But when you look closely, they'll just stop cutting the same as well. And yeah, after a while, you can kind of just tell. If you get 75 knives for a belt, you could probably give it a salute and say thank you for your time and move on. Hey, thanks you guys for joining me, because I've got a bunch of work to do, and I think it's a neat format because you can see me just doing my normal work. Actually got to see a normal customer. You may have heard it in his tone of voice, but he was pretty excited, which makes me happy. He wasn't expecting them to be satin polished and thinned. Normally, you should check with your customer ahead of time before you do things, because some of them don't want to pay extra. He could have said, "Hey, I didn't, authorize that." But for that quality of work, it's not about how much time it takes me. It's about what the results are. And for that result, for him to pay an extra $10 for that knife, and he gets to use it at a higher level for the rest of the time until it needs something again. Yeah, it's a win-win. Gobs, yeah, there are machines over there. I mean, we're selling a lot of products to Finland, Norway, Sweden, Europe, Italy, France now, Germany. There are machines. Sometimes I think people are importing them or getting them from AliExpress. These are 1x30 belts, and you'll find them online. Any belt machine advertised 1x30 is going to be a 25 millimeter by 762 millimeter, I believe. So that's what you're kind of looking for. This form factor, variable speed or slow speed, 1750, 2000 RPMs is what I suggest. Like some people said, they got a faster machine. You can use a faster machine, you just got to be gentler with it. I mean, I could run this one faster, and then I'm just going to move quicker, and I'm just going to press lighter. But when you got a machine that goes slow, then you can really, I want to say you can enjoy the process more. Okay, by the way, for everyone that's tuning in or seeing this later on, we just launched our new newsletter. God, that's corny. But we're doing a lot more activity. I've tried to avoid being a spam mailer, which we don't do. So we just email when we have a sale, but we're missing an opportunity since we have thousands and thousands of people subscribed to the email to offer them tips, tricks, discounts, inside, like when new products are releasing. And so for this year, we've already got all this quality information that we're going to share on the newsletter. So if that's something you're interested in, downloadables, new information, that's all going to be through the newsletter on our CurryCustomCutlery.com website. And I'll probably put the link in the description or in the comments down below as well. So that's pretty exciting. I sent one out last week already discussing the number one reason why I see that people struggle to get a knife sharp. A lot of this stuff crosses over to things that I go into great detail in our sharpener training program. So naturally, I'm trying to encourage people to, take our class and all that. But at the same time, I can share really useful information with everybody that is a customer or interested in being a customer of ours. We are really, really committed to leveling up our customer service, our educational stuff, our value, basically just all the things we do to try to add value to the sharpening community and help people. And that's this year, starting right now. So what I just did there was there was a elf shoe. What I call is an elf shoe. When you think about the way an elf shoe curls up and it makes this horrible little curve at the very end, I just ground that elf shoe out by taking the material down here and then blending it across. Hopefully that'll show up on camera. So when you have the machine tipped back at an angle like this and its edge leading, where does that knife point at? It points at me. And the lighting reflects off the knife, and so you don't get to see the visual. The visual indicator, you got your sight, your touch, and your sound. And the first thing you want to be able to do is have a good visual. Like when I put this underneath the light at this angle, I can see that edge. Can you guys see that? Let me try and zoom you in. You can see all the chips in the edge. You can see the light reflecting back. That's what I see. And so when I go down and back, and when I go down and back, people say, oh my God, you used a 120 grit belt. You've removed too much material. I still haven't apexed yet. We have not removed, we haven't even apexed, let alone got through the damage. Now we're apexing. Now we're removing the damage. And that was the last of the damage. A little bit more down at the heel. And that's what you need to do. So we drop the angle, we changed the angle, and then we basically are rebuilding that front apex bevel, secondary bevel. So some guys say that you shouldn't put a micro bevel on these, and other guys, if you look in the actual technical drawings of these, they will show them with a very small micro bevel. The problem is if you don't, the included angle is at about 3 degrees, so it's flat on the back. Well, it's hollow, but we'll just call it flat. And then this side's got your bevel, your primary grind here, and it's at about 3 degrees. Well, the steel can't hold at 3 degrees, and that's why you get little chip outs and stuff like that. So in the technical drawings of how to sharpen these, they actually show, and I'm not ever going to memorize all the little Japanese words for this stuff, but it's a micro bevel. So I'm going to put it up here, and then I'm going to go that 3 degrees forward, and then I'm just going to gently run that across, remove the damage, and bring it back. Then I will feel for a burr along that entire edge, and we've added just it probably won't even show up, it's a hairline micro bevel. There's a couple ways you could deal with it at that point. Often I will just use a belt or a brush to move the burr. All I need to do is just take that burr and move it to the front. So I will go edge trailing. I'm not even technically using it for sharpening. I'm not going to sit here. See, what many people do is they'll sharpen too much on the back and you get these very wide, flat, washed out backs. So if you want to do it traditionally, great. Get yourself a 1,000, 3,000 grit whetstone. This is the same combo I use for hair scissors. And there we go. So we've got a really thin ride line, and then we'll take it down to the next step. Primarily what that whetstone I just used it for was to brush that burr back. And I've demonstrated that same technique with a 2,000 grit ceramic honing rod. You use the flat of the back of the honing rod, and then you cut in edge leading on the front side, the bevel side. So I'll usually do this step twice. So pull it back. And then I'll cut that burr off, edge leading. I don't have the microscope set up for that today, but take my word for it. Edge leading is really a cheat code, because when you go edge leading, you're not creating and pulling and developing more of a flimsy, soft feather burr. So I'll stop it from the back, and then I'll come up to that angle I was at, and then I'll come up that other 3 degrees. See my wrist twitch? Now I'm on the bevel itself. And we'll come up here and we'll do the same thing. Gentle polish from the back, flat. There's the angle I ground, there's the angle of the bevel, there's the angle I ground at. And if I've done everything right, I should be just, then you can check it with your fingernails. Still got, of course, it's still at a very low angle. We're actually at about 7 to 9 degree angle, so it's going to be incredibly sharp. So depending on what kind of a, sometimes you might even want to polish that a little bit more, but this is the kind of edge. I wonder if I could do it twice. Oop. Probably can't do twice. Never tried twice. Stay. Good. Nope, I can't do twice. Yeah. And what's another trick everybody does? I don't normally play around with that too much, but the old curved paper. Yeah. Give it one more little thing. Okay. So we got some more sharpening to do. I'll just set you guys right here while I do the next little couple steps. So Mr. Random Guy, some random guy, well, razor thin, maximum performance. So Cliff Stamp is the guy that I learned from. He's my mentor. And he did all this testing where you decrease the angle to improve the cutting performance, period. Now the cutting performance depends on, and the angle would depend on the steel, the quality of the metal, and what you're impacting into. I think he mentioned, like, for something that is doing delicate work, he would go down very low. But that very low angle is now optimized for soft or delicate work. And an example, I mean, he's passed away, but his videos are still up on YouTube, hopefully forever. And in those videos, he talks about this machete, this angle profile, decreased, optimized for improved cutting performance, and then chopping wood to test in real world tests how it holds up. Does it chip? Does it roll? Does it fail? And the bottom line is if it fails, chips, rolls, then you just increase it about 1 degree and try it again. And then you're finding exactly where that steel can hold with that level of impact on that surface. For impact type things, for chopping. I have a Spyderco too. I sharpened on a wicked edge at 12 degrees. And it's been fine because I use it to open Amazon boxes. It probably could do just fine for everyday slicing and whittling tasks, but I probably wouldn't baton it into firewood. One, that's not what it's meant for. As far as a real world example I can share, again, it might not be the area you're looking for here, but machetes. In fact, I have several right here, right now, that I'm going to sharpen here in a minute. This machete has been chopping coconuts for five years or more, and we've been holding at about a 17 to 18 degree angle, and it doesn't chip, it doesn't roll. The edge just gets worn over time, which is what things do in the physical world. And to find that, we decreased the angle until it started chipping out, and then we backed it off 2 degrees total. And you want to talk about a happy customer, because he had it up at 25 degrees. And then when I said we're going to lower it, he said, lower it to what, like 22? And I said, no, we're going to take it down about, 8 degrees. And he kind of thought that was insane. But when we showed him that the edge was holding at that lower angle, striking into the coconuts, he was very happy. So he went from 50 coconuts between sharpenings to 150. The only bad side about that is I think we've spoiled him, and now he expects every time, every sharpening to give him about 150. And, you know, God forbid the real world happens, different moisture, humidity, I don't know. The belt isn't loaded correctly or slightly different. You don't hit a world record every time. When I do this, I'm not just brushing this on here. I'm actually visualizing the angle that I sharpened at, and I'm placing the apex bevel on the surface. I'm trying not to go up too high and roll it over. But I'm also not over polishing it because I'm trying to leave it with that little bit of bite that sticks to your thumbnail. The best video I've ever done on that, if you can find it on my YouTube channel, is sharpening in 1 minute. And I go step by step with a microscope, and I stop the stopwatch, and then I look at what we did. And so you can actually see what a dull knife looks like, what it looks like after the Cubitron P120, what it looks like after the Trizac A30, and then the stropping step where we bring it together until the light isn't reflecting at a microscopic level. And at some point, that's where you lose your tooth, but it becomes hair-splitting sharp. And so there's that Goldilocks zone that I'm always talking about, where it's sharp enough to split a hair, but there's still bite on it. And that usually is a best test score of about 120. If I had to put a number on that. Then I'm going to gently, excuse me guys, I'm going to set these in here. And then we'll see who's the next one on the list. How about we do one of these goofy boys? So this is for a specialty machine. She said that they don't make anymore. Oops, sorry, I'm not even on the camera. Yeah, it's a little gross. It's not super gross though. I mean, I've seen worse. And the edge actually isn't that bad. It's not going to focus for us, is it? You see the light reflecting back? That's our situation. So we just need to get that away. And if we can do it while keeping those teeth in place, we'll be golden. Let's go ahead and bring it over here. And I take off the curved platen when I'm not using it to preserve it and give it a longer lifespan. I've had a curved platen years ago and I wore it out. And then you learn how not to use it after that. Be right back. Normally I've got music going, of course, like everybody does, probably in their shop, but I can't do that for YouTube, so. Ah, that's better. Dwayne, hello. Thank you, sir. Yeah, random guy. I would suggest trying to find Cliff Stamp where he talks about micro bevel angle as a function. He's actually shown where a cheaper steel can outperform a super steel just by changing the angle. And that's no BS. He actually did like 10,000 cut tests. And a cheaper steel can outcut a super steel just by decreasing the angle, changing the angle. And we're talking above the point where it chips or rolls. Everyone always wants to throw that into the argument. Yeah, but it'll chip or roll at some point. Well, don't take it to the point where it chips or rolls. But if you decrease the angle, you're going to make it cut better and work better. Interesting little piece. So I'm gonna throw a Scotch-Brite on. And this machine won't run a Scotch-Brite unless you cut that back off. Have we shown that before? You got to cut this little back section off. I've got a video on that. And then they came out with that new variable speed one. It won't run a thicker belt either without cutting that back off. So good job. Okay, all I'm going to try and do is just remove a little bit of that grossness right there. That's for a customer, you know, the customer will be more impressed when you get it back and it looks shiny. I'm not going to mess with that because, you know, yeah, it's tricky. Actually, what you kind of want is you do want the curved platen, but the curved platen adds a lot of tension. There we go. So what I did is I raised up the platen so I can go flat without having it catch on the front edge. Good enough. So we're going to try and sharpen, and I'm going to try to keep these little, I don't want to call it a serration, but the staggered marks in there. So I see it in my head what I'm going to do. I'm going to mark. I'm going to mark right here where we start. Lighting is going to be really important so I can see when I bring up the burr. So I actually cut them in a little deeper. We'll just do a little satin polish for some good looks. And then this is the 1-2 kick. Dallas, Ryan Swanson made one, District Cutlery. He's got a 3D printed version for the 2-inch machines. It doesn't fit all 2-inch machines, but it works. He actually uses a different method. So he goes with the belt moving down, and so the clip-on design is designed with the hump more optimized for his style of sharpening. Shocking. That's what I would do too. However, I don't think that method is necessarily the most common method of thinning or sharpening. It's a knife maker method for sure, because knife makers have their belts going down, and oftentimes they're even going edge leading, but they're not sharpening the apex bevel. But when you're thinning, I prefer to have it be horizontal and with it going away, because my arms naturally can hold it in position. There we go. I've got new lights, so I should probably plug them in. Main thing is I'm trying to get rid of any loose burr material, because that will get into whatever they're cutting. There we go. One of the things you'll notice is I'm just very deliberate. Go clamp, clamp, rotate, clamp, clamp. Oh yeah. Okay, now we gotta get the residue off. Residue. There we go. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I know a lot of people probably have to work. I was thinking about that, like, why don't I get more people watching my live views? And then I'm like, well, it is middle of the day on a Thursday. Some people got to go to work. So my 1-2 punch, when you need to get compound off, I use brake cleaner. I know. I rarely will hear me ever say I don't use something food safe on a food item. Brake cleaner just removes the residue, so we don't want to leave that residue on there. Once the brake cleaner is removed, it will evaporate. Then you can use a rubbing alcohol, and you give it a full disinfectant rubbing alcohol, isopropyl, and that will evaporate. And then after that, if you want, you can give it a water bath. Do be careful when wiping these things off. I haven't gotten scratched in a while, but doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So this isn't a commercial grade food processor blade. This is for a small, older version of a home machine. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm willing to risk it on camera. There you go. They'll be happy with that. And where did their thing go? There they go. She should be very happy with that. So how's everybody doing? Got any questions? Now's the time. Yeah, Roy, hand control is something that's weird for sure. I can share my story. When I first started, I had the wicked edge, and I was making some flawless mirrored edges with the help of the guided rod system, and I love that. Some people will laugh at it. Japanese Waterstone guys, they'll say it's not real sharpening, maybe, but the truth is that the precision and control allow you to observe and experiment and learn about steel and apexing and burr formation and really see it and understand it. And you can geek out. And the whetstone guys don't get that, you know. I mean, I can whetstone. That's great. I don't enjoy. I mean, you get into the process, and oftentimes I see where they don't stop when they've already apexed because they're really, literally enjoying the process. And they'll feel a burr, and then they'll keep grinding, and then they'll feel a burr, and they'll keep grinding. Where, you know, a science-based approach would say once you've apexed, you want to try to not create a huge burr, which belt sanders do, but when you go edge leading, you decrease that burr as well. Edge leading is the method that allows you to. So I'm going to do edge trailing because I've got these rusty machetes. And I'm not going to even screw around. I'm going to go get a P50 grip belt. You can see this is actually starting to get wore out where it's pink and faded. But I can feel it. I try to run them until they don't have any life left in them. This isn't like the Norton Blaze and some of those other belts where they're scaled over and you try to fracture them, but once they're scaled over, they're kind of cooked anyways. This is, these things just wear down, and then when they're done, but usually they'll last about longer than just about anything. Okay, we are grinding, so we're going to flip the dust extraction over to... Huh, interesting. My vacuum's dead. There we go. I might have tripped the breaker. All right, now we got our nice little dust suction going right here. I don't like to have it right next door because the sparks can actually, you don't want to put hot sparks inside your plastic. A dust arrestor, some sort of little chicken wire also could be really helpful. They make really expensive versions of all this stuff, but all right. Sorry for the noise, boys. Once it's apex, what do? We go move on to the next step. So that step isn't necessary, but what that does is that takes the 50 grit scratches, satin polishes them, and it starts to loosen and weaken the burr ahead of time before the final burr removal wheel. So every step is doing two things. Tramatinas used to be pretty good. Well, this isn't even a Tramatina, it's just a made in Taiwan. So it's just a chunk of metal with a hollow grind in it. Not cool. Smell funny too. I don't know how else to say it. That steel always gives a weird smell to it. These are really thin. When it's thinner, you got to watch for the heat build up more. I'm not ready yet. Showing up on camera, the sparks are actually going over all the dust, and the sparks are going over towards the dust extraction. Any big stuff will hit off this metal wall behind. Alright, here we go. Dale, what's going on? Somebody's got a question about table knives. Gary, you're very welcome for the angle guide for your Vevor. Roy, yeah, angles and hand control is something I really go into detail with in my class. And I mean, you don't have to take the training, one-on-one training just for that, but when I first started, I couldn't hold an angle on a buffer, and then I realized it was because the buffing wheel was too soft. I was using the wrong equipment, the wrong speed. Once you get the right fundamentals, which I'll actually show you one right here, right now. Edge trailing is pretty cakewalk, and that's why it's one of the first things I cover in my training program after safety and theory is edge trailing. You hold the knife on the belt until you see the burr come up with your lighting. That's your visual reference. That's why everyone likes to sharpen edge trailing, is because you can see when the burr comes up. Edge leading is harder because you got to, you're going into the belt and all that. So here's where you got. So we sharpen over here. And let's say it was perfectly horizontal, and we're sharpening at 2 fingers. Let's just pick it, 2 fingers, okay? Now when you come over here, instead of trying to visualize that, on the side of the wheel where it's really hard and the curves are weird. Imagine that you're at top dead center and there's flat, and then you come up your 2 fingers. Then lock your wrist. And this is how I started. I don't do, now I can go anywhere on the wheel, but then you visually watch that burr. I'm going to bring you guys up here for this. Hang on. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if this is a good idea or not. Here, let me put a big contraption right in front of where I'm working. That'll be fine. All right, is that in camera? Okay, nobody move around in the boat. Yeah, sugarcane machete. A lot of these guys around here use them for banana trees because they go right through. Now, I can't guarantee that you're going to have the right angle to see this, but let's hope you do. So that light reflects, and then that burr shows up even brighter. And then I'm going to come right over here now. You should be able to see this. Now I'm just going slow and steady just to hold it and show you. I've got about that 2 fingers underneath. But now I'm just going to, once I see that burr start going back and forth, I'm just going to take my time. There it goes already. Hopefully you can see that jumping off. And if it doesn't jump off, I don't tip up, or I can press a little harder. But the best thing to do, and I'm going slow here for instructional time, but then you just come back and hit that same angle again. And there it goes. And the slower you go, you're giving it a chance to come off all by itself. So where it's being a little more trouble, I'll push a little harder. But the thing you don't want to do is roll up on it, which is what you naturally want to do. You can lean into it a little bit, but there it comes off now, see? And so it just took a little patience, a little extra pressure, and a couple extra swipes. And then, let's get you guys zoomed out. And then this is not, that was the work step over there. Now you just lightly touch it. I'm leaning in, I'm pressing in pretty good, but that's why I like these wheels, is they've got just a little bit of give to them. Am I on camera? You there? So that's shave and sharp, but there's no bite to it. See, that's where we were always talking about the bite and the push. So there's actually no bite to that at all because we've buffed and polished that burr completely off. Does that make sense, you guys? Get you back up here to normal height. There you go, everybody. And so I'm going to do the same thing 3 more times. Yeah, and at first it was really hard, but if you have a harder wheel, it's easier to hold the angle. The buffing wheels, they tend to roll up over the top, and that dulls it, and then you lost your edge, and you don't know what you did wrong. You did the first step right, you did the second step right, and it all went to pieces in that last step. Every steel's different. If I get a steel where that burr isn't coming off, I'll come over here, and I'll cut it off using the edge leading belt. Done. You're not going to fight me. I just need to get that burr on. And then I know that these 2 steps right here are going to buff and polish. It's going to get that same level of sharpness. There's that same no bite. I know that bothers some people to see somebody do that. That's why I do it. Yeah, some material, some steel is soft, gummy. I try not to use the word cheap. And so this one also didn't, the burr did not want to come off on that very good. You got to watch that, any recurve. But all I'm doing is because that belt's coming down, it pulls that burr and cuts that burr right off. Didn't even need to do that. That's just out of habit, really. Rusty old machete that'll shave the hair off your leg. That'll work. And then the Tramontina. Well, it's not a Tramontina, but they are. This steel is usually flaky. Super flaky, but it's also fighting me, so we'll just. I got work to do here. There we go. Then sometimes you can even like put the paper towel down so you're not trying to push in with your hand. Does that make sense? You know, instead of running your hand all the way up this thing with heavy pressure. Yeah, it came out good. Of course, it's stupid sharp. So that's all they care about. They just want it to be sharp and shiny is nice. Makes them happy. Is that cool? I'm choking. Choked on my monster. Wow, we got a bunch of people in here. That's cool. So, Gobs 30, you said table knives. What do you mean by table knives? With serrations? Kitchen knives, steak knives? I'm assuming some sort of steak knife. Bernard Stable Forge, what's up? Cool name. Dinner knives. Really small serrations. Yeah, I have several different ways to do really small serrations. What's up, Ellie? What's up? Say hi to everybody. Where's your toy? Go get your toy. Make some squeaky noise. Go get your toy. I know. Where's it at? Did you see it? Did you see a cat? She loves cats. They're her friends. All right, let me get set up for the next job. Interesting jobs everywhere. Also got a bunch of other customers supposed to be coming in today with some surgical tools, which would be cool. I know you guys don't get to see, I didn't ever really get to see a lot of people showing how to sharpen surgical tools. Even at the conventions and the sharpening trade shows, there's people that do it, but normally there isn't discussion or demonstrations of how to do it. So if they come in here at some point today, while we're still streaming, I'll share that with you guys as well. I see my circuit breakers kicking off on that. Okay, real quick little machete. So this is that one I was talking about where I've done it for 5 or 10 years. We've kept the profile down. We actually just dropped the whole back shoulder profile a little more, and So we keep squeezing like a race car. We keep squeezing performance out of these tools. He's chopping the same thing every day. Coconut, coconut, coconut. And holds it in his hand and chops. Yeah. I can't watch it. Let's just grind this out real quick, you guys. Safety glasses on. Because I've done these so many times, they just naturally fit the curve of the belt. Because there's no heavy damage on it, we're already apex. Done. So to finish the story about the wheels and not being able to hold the edge, I gave up on them for at least 2 or 3 years. And then I came back around, tried some different wheels, and then developed muscle memory, which is what we're talking about here. But I had none. And now after 100,000 things or so, you can feel it, and you can actually hear it with your ear. Like, listen real close. You'll hear it when I hit the apex. So here's not the apex. And if you go too far, then the pitch changes, and you'll know that you went too far. I didn't turn that machine off. Oh, she did go get her squeak toy too. Ellie's been a great dog. I haven't had a dog since I was a little kid, and I didn't know I was getting a little prancing pony. She was just a cute little puppy, but she's been a super fun little dog. Aren't you? I hear you back there. Just a little bit of burr on there. I don't recommend you do it, but you can use a piece of wood to slide it through. What'll happen is if you have a lot of burr and you use a stick, like a balsa wood stick is because balsa wood, like a paint stick is what I'm trying to say, from the hardware store, from Home Depot, you go get a paint stick. Use that paint stick, but any loose material will bunch up, and then you're dragging that steel down the length of the blade, and that's gonna dull it a little bit. People get worried about like that little bit of dulling on the edge, but then they're going to go out and it's going to be duller than that just from normal use in a very short amount of time. There I am making a mess again. I'll keep the little squeak toy away from Ellie because that can be a little annoying. Podiatrist and Dale, for podiatrists with clippers and cuticle nippers, that can be a dangerous, it's a trap. That's what it is. A lot of times the tools aren't high quality. Like some of them could be made in foreign countries. Some of them are high quality, made in Germany, for example. You know, they're very expensive, but a lot of times you'll get these tools and they're made with mystery steel. They don't have good geometry. They get dull quick. They can be very hard to sharpen. I'm giving you all the red flags here. And the worst thing is I've actually lost a customer location because I couldn't sharpen their eyebrow scissors, these tiny little scissors. I should have just said no, they're not worth it. But because I couldn't do a good job on that, I lost them as a customer for all their hair scissors and everything else. Ruined it. Was not worth it. And I hate to say no. It hurts. But you can hear the conviction in my voice. That was a sad day. Because I was just trying to help them out. And so I actually have buried underneath my house. I bought it and I never unloaded it because I wasn't into the new shop. Now I can't find it. I actually have a weirdo cuticle nipper cutting machine. It's got a cheap little mini fan and a diamond thing. I'm sure I could make it better, but I have to find it before I can make it better, and I lost it. I know. But it's got a clamp, and then you match the angles with the light, and then you touch it, and then you flip it, clamp it, and then go, and you can still only charge $5. So high risk of failure, low return on the dollar to grief ratio is off the chart. Where are we at here? Sorry, give me a second here, guys. I need to identify what I'm sharpening to determine what grit belt I should be using for it. These are not planer blades. These are coconut shaver blades. And they're similar to ice shaver blades. Oh, son of a gun. And I got a bunch of them, apparently. I put them in these little sheaths, which was cool. Made little sheaths for them. And we got a bunch of them. All right, let me just get that out of the way. 1 second here, guys. Take this down, get this out of the way. Perfect. So we've done this, I've been sharpening this knife for years now, and we've been able to keep the blade straight. When you get a little bit of a heel down here, you just grind that off real quick. Just give it a little touch, so it doesn't. Basically, you're hiding the amount of sharpenings you've done. There we go. I just ground it in there a little bit. Bring up a burr, satin polish. This has got good steel, so it just pops right off. Remove the burr. Touch of compound, not too much. Deburr. We did a best test last time, I think, on this very knife, and it hit somewhere 120 or 100, somewhere in there. Every day is a little different. You can, some days you're going to hit a world record, and other days you're just going to hit 120 on a best test. which is still stupid sharp. No benefit to edge leading on a high-powered machine like a 2-inch, and I strongly recommend to avoid taking advice from anybody that's showing you to go edge leading on a 2-inch machine. I cannot imagine having a 2-inch belt with a 1 horsepower, whatever, how many horsepower motor moving towards me with an angle guide on it. I mean, that it's not a good idea. With a little machine like this, the belts can break. Even these sometimes don't break, but the angle guide is here. It's made out of solid metal and it's attached to the frame of the machine. So if the knife and the belt come into contact with each other, they will separate within a millisecond, and the knife gets moved away from the contact with the belt and the momentum is lost. In that time, it can still tear or pop the belt, and the motor is not too strong. Now, let's take 3 things. So 3 things: you have a weak motor, you have a small thin belt, or not a thin belt, but you know what I mean, a small belt that can pop apart, and you have a solid metal angle guide. You get rid of the solid angle guide so it breaks, you got a belt that won't break, and then you got a motor that you can't stop. I just don't understand what people are thinking, to be honest. Muscleaholic, I don't know what you mean about edge leading and like a whetstone. I mean, I use edge leading here. The benefits of edge leading are amazing because you get a strong, toothy formation that then you can refine that edge and you can keep the bite and choose how to apex it. When you go edge trailing, you always have a weak feather burr that you can buff and polish off to a very sharp edge, but it won't have any bite or slice left in it, which is basically the technique that we're using today. But this machine, 2-inch machine, I treat it with a great amount of respect, edge trailing only. And it's going away from me. The wheel is going away from me. I think people are just trying to make exciting new content, and I don't think it really is in the community's best interest if they don't have the safety and best interest of the community in mind when they make the video. I've been asked more times in the last 3 months about an edge leading 2-inch angle guide than I can count. The first question would be, why do you need a 2-inch angle guide? And then the second question would be, I would ask myself, based on the 3 things I mentioned before, is it safe? So I'm just using the 240 grit wheel to weaken that burr. I'm just angle matching, bringing up the burr, and then giving a quick weakening of the burr. Sorry, this is so noisy. Please, anybody that has questions like the one that he just brought up, don't be afraid. I'm not yelling at you. These are the kind of things I want to talk about. These are the things that are really important for us to get out here in the open and talk about. Just because one guy shows something on YouTube and then somebody else copies him, then the next thing you know, everybody has got machines pointed towards them with angle guides, you know, and it could be a real danger to people. So by educating and discussing it, you can make your own decision, but you need to be able to make an informed decision. I know, I get a little wound up about it. But probably because I've spent the last 10 years trying to share the best advice I can, but not for clicks and views, just to help people the way I was helped when I was starting out. And now I just can't seem to stop, so. Now I just want to focus on electrocuted me. I mean, everything's got an element of danger to it because we're talking about making things razor blade sharp. And that's probably why it's even more important to minimize the potential risks involved by doing risky practices. I mean, everything's risky. The problem is that I can do the same thing 10,000 times, but it's the one time that, for example, a reverse switch by nature is not risky, but it's probably the most dangerous thing I've ever come across inside a shop setting, because if you have a machine that can be going one way or the other, you go, oh, I'll remember it's always this way, but then there's that one time you move it to a different way and then you forget, and it's happened. It happens to everybody. Hold on a second. I got a customer coming in. Who is it? Customer coming in live. Coming in live. Whoosh. Dog, everybody. What do we got? How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. This one might be a good restoration.
What? I said bring me the small one next time. Come on. How many you got for us today?
3 or 4.
Okay.
This one just needs there's a little bit of a jagged tip on it.
Okay. Oh, I see it. I can actually see the little snag there. I can see the little snag on it.
This one's got a chip on
Good
it.
Lord. It looks like it's about 3 pounds. All right. You want me to do them while you're hanging out? Should we just drop them out real quick? All right. Uh-oh. Hang tight, guys. I'm going to lose you if I don't plug in. Don't lose me. Hold on. There we go. All right, I got us back on the charger. Yeah, I don't know who's doing what, but I'm seeing a lot of people ask me about edge leading into a 2-inch machine. Edge trailing has got its own problems because anything you set on an edge trailing angle guide is going to get pulled off. And so it's got its own Cocoa poker. We just ground 3 new facets into that one. All right, we're gonna pause on that project. Okay, I'll just do one at a time here. Okay, big boy. So when it doesn't need it, I always try to drop up to the 80 grit. Nice. Mandolin blade, single bevel. Bring up a burr. Soften it up, satin polished. Bring up a burr. really got to do some work here today, you guys. Got him. This guy's a great customer because he's also a knife enthusiast, so he identified 2 chips. Whoop. There we go. Sorry, guys. I had all this work lined up, so I tried to do my life. That's kind of good. The last time you came here too. It's cool because I can share, you know, my daily workflow. And every sharpener has got a different process. You know, they got a different number of steps, they got a different method. My method is not unique, but it is. I would say for sure my methods are different from some of the other guys. I try to do the most work in the least amount of time with the least amount of complications. So I'm different from some of the other guys, but the other guys are really great sharpeners as well. Okay, this one's all chewed up looking, wonky, chipped out. That's from too low of an angle with a whetstone, guaranteed. So we got, you know, basic whetstone guys stuff, but that's fine. So this is how we're going to do it. Set you up right there. There we go. Hopefully my elbow won't be too much in the way. I'll try to keep it down. I'm just going to start by doing a nice thin tapering behind. Give it a dose. See, this feels normal to me because I'm pulling away. But an angle guide, the minute you put it on the angle guide and you touch the belt, it's going to pull it. It's one of the very first things I tried on my very first 1x30. Edge trailing did not work. You can use it for a reference. Like you set it, you lock your wrist, and then you come, do your job. You set it, you come down, do your job. That's the only function of an edge trailing angle guide from a practical point of view, in my opinion. So we've got this thing apexed and the damage is removed. This is 1.5 inches, by the way. If you just go side to side, you'll end up with snail trails, but you can get those to kind of be removed, especially with the wider wheel is really nice. I didn't know this was a dowel strong. And I'll on the spine, and then I'll do it one more time. Beautiful, like it's brand new. Now that didn't take mini buffers or jewelry things. That's some of the differences. You know, everyone's got their technique. I prefer quick, fast, and industrial level techniques. You get a more uniform result than you would if you had like a little tiny Dremel thing or something like that. But you can use whatever you got. Here's the best part. If you've educated your customer, hey customer, do you like a toothy or a polished edge on this? You gonna be slicing or chopping?
So that one, the servers actually use it to cut the tomahawk table side
Yep.
in front of the guests.
So you need a slicey edge that's gonna slice through a steak in front of the customer. So we're gonna leave it with that bitey edge leading edge. Two swipes to cut the burr and put an apex bevel on. Two swipes to refine that apex, but leave a little tooth. If you go to an A16 belt as another step, you've added more time, more complexity, and it isn't needed. There is no do it yourself, observe, look underneath a microscope. An A16 belt will take you halfway to having no tooth, and then if you polish or strop too hard, see I'm not going to touch it on there because I want that extra bite. That is stupid sticky bitey, and that's what we want. So you get to control it. But if you go to a refined A16 belt, which is 1200 grit, after the A30, you're making a decision to take out a lot of the potential bite. A30, you have bite and you can refine it. If you go up here to A16, then you have nowhere you can go but finer and finer to a polished edge. So you've lost all your ability to go to a toothier, bitier edge. This edge is still, so we want to talk about Goldilocks zone. This will snag and drag on my finger. It'll push cut phone book paper, and I'm not going to shave, but it's sticking to the hair. So that means it's in the Goldilocks zone, a hair popping, but still toothy, slicey, and that's what we want. Now, if there is another way to get that level of control besides edge leading with the angle guide, I don't know about it. All right, there you go. What are we doing with this one?
Just a touch up.
You want me to? This is one of the very first ones I did on the Wicked Edge, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Cold steel. I actually did the stone wash, and that was a full, and we did a mirror polished originally on the Wicked Edge.
I think so.
Yeah, no, it was one of the very first ones. So and it took me 2 or 3 hours. So now what would we do? Identify, assess. Slight dull right there. Everything else is pretty good. It's just dull. No major chips or damage. I'm going to pull an audible. I'm going to go to the 100 grit Trizac A160. This will leave a fine satin polish with a uniform scratch pattern, but it's also 100 grit. It's a low grit. So I'm going to think about it. I'm going to practice one time. What I'm trying to do, the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to kind of smooth this little area out down in here and here. And those can get a little chewy looking. Yep, that's good. I'll be very gentle. This is where the clamp on a stick method won't really work for you, because you can't adjust and move it around like you need to either. Beautiful. And then we'll use our good old friend, Mr. Blendy Blendy. You want to talk about an MVP? This thing will probably be here for another 3 years. It doesn't wear out. It's just doing its job. Just doing its job, crushing it every day. Oop. All right. So that was after the rough satin polish. So I'm kind of taking you back towards the mirror polish end of things where we used to live. Woohoo! And look at the rubbing alcohol on that.
I could use that to crack coconuts at work.
I bet you can. I bet you can. So there's the 1, 2, 3 edge for that one. And that was a polished edge because we did it all edge trailing. But we kept the stone wash, put a light convex in, kept his tip. There you go. Here's a great one. So pop the quiz of the day for people hanging around. Is that a 1/4 inch, a 1 inch, a 1/2 inch? What size serration wheel should I use for that? Let me give you a reference. There's my fingernail. Hey, Bill. Good to see you, man. Truth in Metal wins the prize. It's a 1 inch. Here's the deal. The serration's just over a 1/4 inch tip to tip. A little bit over. But it doesn't even go down in 1/8 of an inch. So what it really is more like it's a 1-inch wheel width. You guys will just have to trust me on it. I'll demonstrate it for you. I won't put a 1/2 inch in because I can't put metal back. But let me do 3 or 4. Okay. Probably that was my arm. Sorry. What a rookie mistake. Oh my god. Here's my arm, YouTube. So I did the first 4. You see how the shape's consistent? So that's the appropriate profile. And if you want to change your profile a little bit, you can tip it up or tip it down to get a shallower or narrower. Shallower or narrower. Okay, not going to YouTube my arm anymore. There we go. Somebody mentioned they thought that the wheel was turning the blade brown. It's actually just the light reflecting. But I also think these wheels have put in their tour of duty. We've probably done over 500 knives on them. That little bit right at the end that he told me about had that little chewy spot. I just wiped it out with the diamond wheel as I came around right there at the end as well. Can or cannot, you can choose to use the 240 grit to deburr a little bit. You guys tell by now I use these a lot. Some guys like the brass wire. Brass wire can shoot out little needles of brass wire too. Something to be cautious of. Okay, got my arm out of the way. Perfect. Bring up a burr, soften it, remove the burr, polish the edge. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very repeatable, very quick, very efficient. I'm doing a lot of freestanding phone book tests today. My last phone book. That's a serrated knife, my friends. Here's the final result too. How many times have we sharpened this one? Over time, you'll end up with some little variances. I should probably go back and straighten them up. Where you see one that's a little high, you can bring it down. You can adjust all that. These are working boys. I think the first time I brought this was brought in, it was in pretty rough shape. You, sir, are very patient. I appreciate your waiting around while I did all this. What do we think? What do we got? And the mandolin. One. These are all kind of premium items. These ones aren't. 15. I'll give you Joe's. 15 for that one. 12 for that. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. $70. So just over $10 each. And then a couple more price. And the serrations. $70, 72. Touch it down. Yes, sir. And I've been doing acid etching, so I will promise. You're too good to me, though. That's the thing. Oh. Rock and roll, baby.
I just gotta tell the servers not to cut their fingers off.
No, that's right. Even at the sharpening convention, a guy came up and grabbed the serrated knife that I just sharpened, and he went like this with his thumb.
Oh, he split his thumb.
He split his thumb. I said, dude, I just sharpened that. I know. Well, that's what happens. All right, brother. See you on the next one. All right, you guys, what's going on over here? Edge trailing, North Rider, edge trailing on the diamond wheels is my preferred method. Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, I don't like things that can catch and hiccup. Yep, 2x42s. I'm having trouble with my words today. Miss Arse. Probably not the way you say that, sorry. Yeah, 2x42s. Great. Jets are great, man. Those are expensive machines, but they won't ever let you down. You know, the crazy thing is I've got a Palm Grand 2x36 bench grinder setup that is bulletproof. I should pull it up. Danny, RPMs on the belt grinders, the 2-inch machine is running full speed, 3450 RPM, or about 50 miles an hour, 45. So the other machines are running under 2,000 RPMs. Well, I appreciate the advice there, Pocatello Sharpening Service. I actually call it an exfoliant. I like to rub it in. It's nice. Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you noticed, but every time I get done with a knife, I'm wiping it clean, and I use the rubbing alcohol to wipe the thing. It's not really an issue, but we do keep our safety glasses on. That's for sure. And I've learned over 10 years and a couple 100,000 knives, I don't usually stick my finger in my eye unless I'm trying to get something out of it. Hopefully I'm not putting anything in it. Pedro, thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate the compliment. What else we got? I'm going to scroll back up a little bit. Yeah, rubbing alcohol. Sutherland, I use rubbing alcohol primarily as my wipe because it evaporates, leaves no residue. Busaholic, I can't open a shop on Oahu because the commute using the inter-island airplanes, you can't really run a business inter-island. I tried once before. I had a business here, and I tried to do a branch on Big Island and Oahu, and the hassle of having to go back and forth anytime there was a problem made it not cost effective. Dale, yeah, I'll circle back to Paul. Paul's an amazing sharpener, and he does amazing amounts of content and videos that really help people. I mean, he's the #1 person that people mention in the same sentence with me. Like, I really thank you and Paul for all your videos. We have different techniques. We have different kind of philosophies, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's an amazing sharpener, and what he's teaching and sharing with people. I have the tools and choices that I make for how I do things are different in a lot of ways. And at the same time, I think we're both trying to share and help everything we can with sharpeners to be better sharpeners. So it's all good. We talk on the back end quite a bit. Hey, interestingly enough, quick show of hands here. Who would be interested in a podcast, like a Sharpener podcast, where Zoom meeting style? I bring guys on and we discuss the industry. We discuss tools, techniques, like just the type of things we were just talking about. Paul's choices to use, different types of buffers, grinders, Dremels, my preferences. We could actually have a forum and then take customer questions. We could take sharpener questions and things like that. It's kind of one of the things I'm thinking about. This year we got lots of stuff planned. If you haven't, I'll give one more plug for the newsletter. So we just set up the newsletter. The deal is I'm going to be doing behind the scenes email newsletters with tips, tricks, discussions, new product release announcements, like first releases will be through the newsletter. Sales announcements, everything is going to be through the newsletters coming up. So if you're not signed up, I'll leave a link down below, or you can go to currycustomcutlery.com, and down at the very bottom right-hand side, there's a link that says sign up for the newsletter, and you won't regret it. We're not going to do spam stuff on it, like I see some of the guys. I just was looking at this baseball hat, or maybe it was a hair regrowth hat or something, and I got 5 emails every day until I deleted it because they just wanted me to buy their baseball hat. This is more about education, connecting, community. Like if we're going to do a podcast, I'll send an email out through the newsletter announcing who the guy's going to be and when the podcast is going to be. So all that's going to be coming up this year, along with a ton of new products. You guys want to see one? You want to see a new product? I still got to do all these sharpenings, but I'm getting a little tired too. It's been a couple hours. This box is marked fun because it's full of all stuff I haven't opened yet. I have not opened a box here yet. And every one of these things is something potentially cool that I want to bring. Here's the first one. Have you guys ever seen a pocket inclinometer? Roy, Paul's site, I think it's Alexandria Sharpening. Shouldn't do this yet, but it's just us guys here, right? Nobody's gonna notice this. The tiniest little high quality digital angle guide. It can clamp, it's got magnetic, it'll clamp right to a knife or to the, well, I think the guides are non-magnetic, but a micro, look at my thumb. Look at how big that thing is. Anyway, so that's a mini digital angle guide, super affordable. And we're going to have those on the website here in the next couple of weeks. That one's super fun. These are all like the best, coolest things I could find. And I won't go through everything here, but let's just go with the first one and see what it is, because I haven't even looked at them yet. That's how busy I've been. The heck? No way. Needs batteries. So it's got a built-in ring light, so you can place this right on the knife, and see, that's why you shouldn't share anything until you're ready to go. I don't even know I don't even know how to get the batteries out of it, or how to put batteries into it. I don't even know if I got any batteries. AA needs 2 AA. Do I got any AA? Probably not. All right, we'll circle back. Anyways, the whole box of fun. The fun box is mostly magnification devices. I'm going to pick out the most practical, affordable, exceptional, and then we're going to add those to cool things that everybody wants that Cliff found. There are a bunch of microscopes and magnifiers, and each one's a little different. When I was early on, I had the little teeny ones, and then the little bit bigger one actually reverts it upside down, so you almost can't use it because you have to move right to go left and left to go right. Yeah, we have a bunch of different cool toys and tools. I won't bother us with it now, but maybe we'll do an unboxing, and you guys can, give me your opinions live on the screen while we're doing it. That'd be fun. So what do you guys think about that? Yeah, that's right, Todd. Todd, how you doing? Todd's our resident scientist in training. Check the chat. Yeah, who doesn't want to see new products, right? I would look at I gotta do the grinding stuff. Almost done though. No, it's true. It makes it so much more fun when I get to hang out with people while I'm doing it. Let me back up a little bit. Up here, a little higher up. Dylan Emerald Gray, you asked about the 240 grit wheel and compared to like a 500 or 600 grit wheel. And the answer is yes. They're both. The 240 grit will blend and satin polish lower grit abrasives. I mean, we saw a couple examples today. It brings up a fairly high luster. It's not a flawless, but it's a satin polish. It's got streaks in it. High luster satin polish. It creates a little bit of a burr while it does it because it can't do both. It's removing deeper scratches, it's satin polishing, it's bringing up a luster, and it also creates a little bit of a burr. The 600 grit or the 1000 grit, I'm running 1000 right now just because I wanted to experiment with it. I wanted to get a feel for it. I like the 600, I like the 1000. They both have their place. The 600 and the 1000 will both remove a burr, as we were demonstrating today. The 1000 grit leaves a higher satin polish. It can't remove mid-tier scratches, but the higher satin polish makes it really, when you take it to the buff and polishing wheel for the final step, the 1-2 punch it does is a near mirror polish pop. And so it doesn't remove the burr quite as well as the 600, in my opinion, but it's a trade-off. We're talking nuances. It functions very well as a burr removal, but it also functions extremely well as a high satin polish, pre-mirrored polish step. Does that make sense? Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And so you kind of need them both. I use them both. That's why I think these live streams are really useful, is you guys get to watch exactly what I do. I get my bench clean, I run through the steps, I do everything I need to do with these 6 or 7 machines. I don't even use that one machine, it just sits there. That's the steak knife serration and the 1/4 inch serration. It doesn't really get used very much at all. So I've got 3 small belt sanders, a big belt sander, and a wide spindle buffer, and that's what I use to do 95% of the work. And I'm part of what I'm doing, besides you guys keeping me company while I'm doing this, is I'm sharing how I do it, and you get to see the results. So you can make an informed decision about whether this technique and this process would work for you. I try to keep the clutter down. I try to keep the number of steps down. When I started, I had a 14-step process. I had 3 stropping steps. You don't need it. you don't need it, because I've looked under a microscope and I've said, oh, when I go from here to here to here to here, I can literally get the same result looking under a microscope from going from here all the way over to here, and you can skip out those steps. That's why I don't like to use the 1200 grit belt. It's because you can get that result of the 1200 grit belt by using a leather wheel, a leather belt, a felt wheel. You can adjust the toothiness up to 1200 and past there with control of those, without having to take it to there and not be able to come down and make it toothier. So I'm trying to get back here to the chat. Everyone good here in chat? Everyone good? Is it lunchtime yet? There we go. Yeah, it was like it was stuck for a minute there. Todd, that's a great question, and I appreciate the pitch, the softball. I appreciate it. For most of the work that I do, especially the burr removal and the polishing step, the final stropping step, I prefer the slower speed machines, man. I mean, I prefer the slower speed machines for sharpening. I prefer the slower speed machines for the burr removal. We've watched, I even zoomed you guys in. You can just watch the burr come off. The higher speed machine removes material faster, it overheats faster, and it gets the job done faster. But that's the 2-inch machine. The 2-inch machine is a game changer. If you've never had a 2-inch machine, again, just sharing my opinions. I had 1x30s. I had a full speed 1x30, used to cook the edge. Then I got my variable speed 1x30. I was living the dream. Then I got a mini buffer bench grinder, and it fought me because I didn't have the right wheels, and I would roll the edge all the time. And I thought, this is stupid. I don't have the muscle memory. And then I got my first 2-inch machine, and I felt like a real opening up of what I could do. I could start to thin and shape and control. And so I like, for the bigger steps and the bigger things, I still like the full speed machine, because I'm using it just like you see, edge trailing. I'm looking at a machine. You guys probably don't want to look at me anymore. I'm looking at this machine. Here's my first one down here, you guys. So that the Buck Tool 2x42 runs just about $200. This is the machine I had in my van. Motor's flipped, so it's going away. This is a multi-tool. This is a 2x36. It was shooting so that it shot the dust and everything out the door. This is a cardboard wheel. Still my favorite wheel. I could have any wheel in the world, and I still love the cardboard. I should probably put one up there, but we sell the felt, and so the felt's what we have on the machine. But the cardboard has unique qualities itself. You can literally just cut circles of cardboard out, Elmer's glue them together, and you'll get a lightweight material that won't wobble because it's lightweight. It's easy to true it because it sands easily. It's hard, but yet it's soft, and it has pores in it, so it doesn't have heat buildup. It's almost the perfect. It has good balancing, good texture. It has good durability. And it dissipates heat because it's got all the air pockets in it. And it's really good at removing burrs because you put the compound on it. Basically, the compound is what does the job for burr removal. But this is a beast. This thing has variable speeds. It goes 900, 1800, 3600. It's unstoppable. It's got massive amounts of power. It says it's a 0.5 horsepower, but it's variable speed, so you can adjust your speed up and down. I usually went with a medium speed on it, and it's a monster. I think the motor was $600, and the swing arm was $250, and then I modified it. So that's a $700 or $800 machine that I'll probably have longer than I'll be alive. And why don't I use it? Well, I need to pull it up and bring it back out and show people what it's got. I mean, it's there for a reason. I put it right there so I could pull it up and show people, kind of like we just did today. But a 2-inch machine, you've watched me do today. I did the machetes. I did some thinning. I like it for convexing. It's hard to beat. I mean, I don't know. I'll just pull this back out. Hopefully I'm not being too redundant here too, but we put that edge on. And that's a subtle convex edge that is literally peeling my skin off, but it's got strength to it. It feels just smooth and sexy, satin soft. It's nice. All right, too much TMI. But I couldn't do that on a 1x30. That would take me forever. I've got videos with the 1x30s though, where you take the 1x30 and you flip it around like this. That's completely valid as well. Build a little frame and use this thing edge trailing going away from you. We're working on some new stuff too, but we're quite a ways away from that. In the meantime, I have to do this little job. You guys still good? You guys hanging with me? We having fun? Thank you guys. Thank you, Ed. Thanks, Todd, for the question. North Rider, I think, well, actually I'm going to do a couple here right now so you can see it for yourself. I just go back and forth on the burr. So if I finish on one side, I start the next one on the other, but it don't matter. Keep saying a lot. Must be getting hungry. So these came in today. I haven't got a chance to do it yet. I got 500 of them. They did not come in black, so I'm very disappointed with that. But I'll have to double check the final price. But the final price on these is under 10 bucks. So let's see how it works. Let's get that down there. Maybe I can stop having to go back and forth with this thing. Oh yeah, that's bright enough. Perfect. So we have, this is going to be the new, can't really tell the difference there. That one might be a little brighter. So these are just a little light, but they're 10 bucks. And then we got the, this is the one that we're holding good. This is the 3 boom, boom, boom. And those are 20 bucks. So those are both killer deals. I'm really getting some great deals for us here lately. Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, a $10 light, you get them all. I like everything to match, though. I hate that. All right, so what we're going to do, what it's doing here, cleaning up as I go. Just going to slide that out of the way for a minute so we can look at what we got. So I did these over on the other machine, and I ground the bevel in, and then I went and I brought the burr up on the back. There it is. Let's see if you guys can see that or not. You might be able to pull it up, especially with the new light. Hey, let's see if we can do it. So since I finished this way, I'm going to start by moving the burr back this way. Get my, let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing up really good on camera, but. And then 2 swipes. I'll usually finish with the 3rd swipe. That sets me up to do One's heavy on the bevel side, one's light on the back. No, it's not showing up. I don't have fur on my wrist. I don't shave my arm very much anymore. Anyways, hair shaven sharp. Popping sharp. And so I removed the burr and then stropped and polished the edge. Just checking the comments here, you guys. Appreciate everybody with your questions and stuff. I don't want to. So we got new flex lights, diamond whetstones. I use. Let me take you guys for a ride here. So the ones I typically use, especially for hair scissors and things like that, but I'll use them for knives as well. I've got a Naniwa Diamond 1000 and my favorite, which is the Naniwa Diamond 3000. Those are the two I use the most often. And then I've got some lapping plates. And then I think Outdoors Guy, you know, Outdoors 55 or whatever, he had recommended this, and these have got a really nice bite to them. They were super cheap. I grabbed a couple of them when he first announced them on sale for everybody. He does a lot of cool kind of science stuff I appreciate about burrs and things like that, sharpening. And he's got the really cool microscope tool, which makes it excellent for... Come on. There's the girl. She's been waiting. Go. Go be free. Right behind our shop here, we've got a... that's so good. A lot more to get. This is a riverbed where the floods go. Nice day though. We've had pouring rain for a couple weeks. My neighbor next to me got a jumping castle business. So these are all jumping castles. They set them up in the yard. And there's a little Zippy. When I got rid of the van, I kept the license plate. Come on, Ollie. Advertising's hard. We're down at the end of a warehouse and I'm still this busy. Literally, I'm at the end of a warehouse. This is not prime front row real estate. Down there at the street, I got a little sign out that says knife sharpening. Everything else is from referral, where they know where to go and where they know to come and find me here. We were doing a lot more walk-in business when we were on the main drag, though, because it was close to Costco and we were literally on the corner of the busiest intersection of Maui. And I'm still always going to be salty about getting kicked out of there for the air conditioner not working. Bad situation. Come on, girl. Hey, come. Ellie, come. Get over here. Get over here. Come on. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. But it's been, this place, even though it's off the beaten track, has been a really great place because it's had the room for us to grow this part of the operations. This is where all the little stuff goes. This is where our packing department is. Currently, we're doing a lot of stuff on the wall, but as we've expanded out, we're now going to shelving. And then I just added in this whole second row. Here's our diamond wheels. You can see we're out of the 1/4 inch. We have a few of the steak knife left, but there's where we're putting together all our angle guides, our compounds. This is our safety gear. This is new stuff where we're going to be adding new stuff. This is for new stuff. And we got our 2x72s. But this a lot of this stuff up here is my prototype stuff. This is where I check out. You think you guys are coming out with something new. I've checked it out at least a year ago. Different belts, VSM belts. I was checking out the Boras over a year ago. I found that they just wear out too fast. Now there are some interesting new products coming up. Come in here to the office. Where did they go? Diamond belt. Diamond belt that might not be super expensive. What are you doing? What are you doing? So we got, yeah, I'm just looking for new products. Not looking for them. I'm testing new products to see if they're going to hit what we need them to do. This has actually been a favorite of mine, this little full face mask. None of these things are super expensive. We got the safety glasses. We got the full face masks. They work great, but over here it makes me feel a little hot. Then we got 2 different cut proof gloves, etc., etc. We got lots of stuff going on. But right now I'm still focusing on sharpening. So what I have is I have these here to do. Let me check questions. Yeah, no, that's basic. North Rider, what I'm doing is I am weakening the burr by passing it back and forth. Yeah. Todd, did I answer your question good? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Todd's question was about, like, say this 1,000 grit is running at twice the speed. Will it act more like a 600 grit? Well, it depends on the pressure too. Ellie, come. Get out of there. Everything comes down to speed and pressure and angle, right? So what I found with the 1,000 grit at half speed is we got that. Oh, that's the one I already did. Got it. So I left it with the burr on the back, but it's slightly weakened. So I will move it to the front, press in hard, and watch it start to disappear. Finish once more from the back lightly. And the thing is when you do the repeatable thing, you get the repeatable result. We got a new cat in the neighborhood, I guess. Move the burr to the front. Most of it comes off. 99%'s gone. Stropping lightly on the back. And then I'll wipe them all down at the same time. Move the burr. Heavy pressure on the front, medium heavy pressure on the front, lightly on the back. I'm visually also seeing that there's no loose burr. And at some point or another, I've checked these results with a microscope, but I can just feel it with my finger at this point. Burr. I think it went the wrong way. I went right, left, right instead of left, right, left. There we go. Finish on the back. There we go. So one of the things you'll notice is I don't put a lot of compound on the wheel. Put a little bit. And that way I don't have a huge amount of residue to remove when I get all done. Got a little bit just hanging out. But the more compound you use, I'm not using the compound for the burr removal. I'm using it for the final stropping. I'm using the dry Scotch-Brite wheel for the burr removal. So there's a big difference. And there's a great example of where two guys can do the same thing, get the same result. One guy just uses a leather belt. One guy uses a couple different tools. This will remove the burr 10 times faster than a wheel will. Then I just use the wheel to do that final little strop. And it gets a little tedious. I mean, you know, a little repetitive. But when you've got a quick enough process, so I go back, front, back, front, lightly on the back. Back. These wheels are really soft too. They're a pleasure. The thing is that they don't wear out. So they're not that expensive. They don't wear out. They do an excellent job. They do two things at once, right? It's satin polishing and removing the burr. So you get 2-for-1 deal. We love the 2-for-1 sale. Compound just a little bit. Check, let me check for questions so I can actually provide some useful help at the time. Yeah, if you order 600 grit felt and put it on 3000, is it going to perform different? Yeah, speed will, I see what you're saying, Todd, I thought so. So, if I had a 600 grit wheel, which is more capable of developing a burr, I would press lighter. So that was the part of the equation. I kind of mentioned it, but I didn't give a specifics. So if I had a more aggressive wheel spinning faster, and I didn't want to have it, I wanted to use it for burr removal, then I would press lighter. And at the end of the day, I'm sure, I mean, you could go, you know, right to the root of the matter about whether or not the root of the burr has been removed. But I've seen under a microscope, and I feel it with my thumb, that the edge is polished. That's a polished edge that's literally split in hair. So there's, I mean, yeah, so this is going to go grind coconuts, and then it's going to get dull, and then it's going to come back, and I'm going to take off as least amount of material possible and make it shaving sharp again, and the process repeats itself. I saw another question. North Rider, how hard is it to go a bit too far and dull the edge on those wheels? Well, that's kind of what we're saying, is because these are hard density, this one's got just a little bit of give to it, and I use the reflection of the light to show me how much I'm pressing in. That's a you know, like a pro tip that I've developed. And over time, you just get a feel for how much pressure you're applying in. But the honest truth is, unless you go up too high, which the tone will change, if you stay at the correct angle, matching angle, you can press in and you can remove the burr, and you don't have to worry about over dulling it, rolling the edge or rounding off the edge, which is, again, something I struggled with in my early years. So I'm just using some good old compound, and instead of sliding my hands along the edge, I am letting the, and I don't like brake cleaner and I don't endorse it, but this is more for, again, when it is on a food related product, always do a triple wash sanitation protocol. I just haven't found anything that really removes thick compound residue as good as some of this stuff does. And this stuff doesn't have the hard smell to it. I have heard it can be cancerous though, of course. There we go. You guys want me to end the stream, let you go? You want to hang out some more? I'm here, so if you guys got any questions or anything you want to talk about, I'll probably just finish cleaning these up. And then it's going to be 1 o'clock here, so that means I've been streaming for about 3 hours, which is a great amount of time. I again appreciate all the comments, questions. Appreciate everyone hanging out. I really enjoy this format as well. Somebody said they really like this format. This gives you about as close to what the experience is of being here and getting to train directly with me. I've had 2 guys in the last 3 months come over for a 2-day training seminar, and the one guy went back, I think he's already got his business going, and the other guy immediately went out and launched his business, but he wanted to make sure he had practiced. One of the things we did was we took a knife and I walked him through I have now a training protocol, which is a fancy way of saying I have some steps in place to take a guy and put him on a 2-inch machine and show him how to be able to thin a knife. And of course, a lot of that comes down to practice, but if you understand the concepts and you have the basics, it's like taking your first ski lesson, man. I tried to learn how to do something without taking a lesson. Those guys have the methods in place to teach you, so that, which is what we tried to do with this whole thing here, is you got your theory, you got your safety. Safety is usually safety first, then you discuss theory and fundamentals, and then you show the basics. And he was able to take a thing and we went, here's the first basic skill I want you to do, and he was able to do it. That skill led to the second skill. So the first one was just cutting in a bevel. The second skill was blending and convexing. And then the third skill was tapering and removing and doing it up to the certain line. And when he was all done, he had a fully thinned and tapered knife that he's able to take home like a school project, almost like your graduation. This is what I was able to achieve. And we have 30 more of that identical knife, so we can do the same thing with people when they want to come and get trained on how to do thinning and how to do different techniques. My specialty is not Japanese knives, or, like some guys focus almost exclusively, honestly, I think too much. Like they think the whole world revolves around Japanese knives when it's not. Kitchen knives, pocket knives, garden tools, these things are all just as important to people as Japanese knives. For real. And one of I'm proud, if I can say that. One of the things I'm most prideful about is how much I love to try to do exceptional work on pocket knives. Ed, I'm on Maui. JD, what's up, dude? Ed, I'm on Maui. It's usually a real arm twister to take the lady on a tax-deductible trip to Maui for training. We had a good time. The last guy that was just here, we went out to eat some of the most amazing fresh sushi. Some very talented sushi guys, the same ones that I've started to sharpen for the entire restaurant. So to go from sushi guys will never let you touch their knives to I've sharpened a sushi knife to I sharpened for the executive chef to sharpening for the entire restaurant to having the owner of the restaurant say, hey, we have 3 locations. We'd be interested in having you take care of all 3 of our locations. It's been a pretty good milestone. And that's without using Japanese whetstones. I mean, you know, where needed, you use what you got to use. But I did a full acid. I did a thinning and a re-acid etch on the owner's knife, and it blew him away. In fact, we went out, me and the student went out for sushi, and they brought it right this way, sir, and brought us in and comped us a special hors d'oeuvre not on the menu, and they hooked us up, basically. And it's pretty cool, you know. It's feels really good when you do good enough work that people are grateful, appreciate, and all that. And also doesn't help when your student's there going, dude, you must have done something right. And then I was able to show him what I did over the next couple days. So that's all those done for my buddy. He's one of my very first customers. And we started this exceptional journey by offering these cool custom things to him. And now his business has grown to, like, I got a whole nother box. I'm not going to do it right now because I think that's about enough. Daddy's tired. I want to take a break. Ellie just being a good little girl, hanging out. Greetings from Spain. That's cool. Yeah, and I don't get too many complaints from people that they got to come for training on Maui. In fact, we were thinking, well, this year was a kind of a messy year. We lost a good friend of mine who was my sharpening mentor, and he was one of the guys that helped me put together. We have a sharpening training convention that we do in Las Vegas called the Western Sharpeners Workshop, and we will be re-continuing it next year. We took 1 year off. Things just didn't align for it this year, but the Western Sharpeners Roundup is in Las Vegas. You can, if you're on social media on Facebook, you can go see pictures. It's probably one of the best times I've ever had in my adult life. Sharpeners, 3 days, food, fun, fellowship, and massive amounts of knowledge being given freely. I share. We have all the best teachers and different aspects of sharpening. We're focusing more on professional sharpening. So you've got knives, which typically are the red-headed stepchild of the sharpening world because people don't think they're that hard to do, or they don't take that much care or interest in it, honestly. Hair scissors, which kind of has become the belle of the ball. Everybody tries to do the highest quality sharpening for these hairdressing scissors, and that's the focus for a lot of sharpeners that are professionals. Dog groomers, clipper blades, hair shears for, they call them shears, but it's scissors, hair scissors for groomers. But that's the 3 main core pillars of professional sharpening is knives, scissors, and clipper blades. And there's and then you got gardening tools, you got industrial scissors, and these educators that we have come and share and teach people how to do this. We show the equipment, and we have a heck of a good time. The last few years we've done 3 of them now, and every one of them has been better than the last. We have a format that allows people to get up, eat, digest, and listen to an instructor, and then you get to go play. You get to go do hands-on. You get real-world time to go talk with everybody, and then you repeat it for lunch. So I'm looking forward. We got a long time before the Western Sharpeners Roundup, but that'll be coming up. That will also be something that we notify people about in the newsletter. Again, if you're still here, one more plug for the newsletter. Get on the newsletter, you guys. I'm really trying to hype that up because we want to build that as our community base. It's already there. We've got almost 6,000 or 7,000 people in our newsletter pool. And so I'm really trying to I didn't realize it was that many. So now I'm really trying to provide really good tips, tricks, announcements, offers, promos. Everything is going to be through the newsletter. And so sign up on our website, currycustomcutlery.com, down at the bottom where it says newsletter, email. And I promise I won't spam you too hard. But we're going to provide, hopefully, some good knowledge and information on them, too. The kind of stuff I can't just really show here on YouTube. What do you think, guys? That was a pretty good 3 hours. Thanks for helping me. that was quite a bit. That was quite a bit of action, man. Appreciate everybody for coming, and I think we'll sign it off here. I'll go get some lunch, and look, you guys helped me clear off my bench. It was a big one today, right? I mean, we did all that plus the guys that walked in, plus the machetes. That was quite a little bit of work, and I'm still waiting for the medical instrument guys to show up, but we'll see when they get here. Anyways, we'll just wrap it up there, you guys, for everybody. I really appreciate you again one more time for showing up and hanging out with me. God bless you guys. Aloha, and I will see you on the next one. Stay safe.